All right, y'all. The grave robin gold digger has decided to double down. If you guys didn't see this over the weekend, the press secretary, I'm pretty sure she's the press secretary, she's decided to completely double down on what is probably is completely retarded and a little bit stupid. She's decided to tell all of Gen Z that they're somehow lazy and they can't afford groceries, and that they're buying groceries on pay buy now and pay over time schemes, and they can't afford gas in an apartment and a house, all because somehow they're lazy and they don't work hard enough. That's right. She thinks that all the people who graduated college to move on to work at Target, somehow these people are just opting not to participate at all in the markets, and they've not at all decided to get a job, and somehow it's just all of Gen Z when they've got 40% unemployment and 40% underemployment, and somehow we've gotten 80% of Gen Z has degrees that are going to nowhere. Somehow she thinks that's because all of them are lazy, and so we're just going to allow more H1Bs. Well, she said all that, and you feel your brain cells kind of just jumping out into traffic while she's talking. Well, she somehow decided to double down. She says, I'm seeing a lot of bad faith actors take my comment from this interview out of context, so here's the full interview and let me expound. Now, I'll be a little bit fair to you here, fair to her here, that journalists, yeah, they're all a bunch of communists, and yeah, they're going to take things out of context, and they're going to lie. But the reality is that there's nothing to take out of context here. There's no reason to be saying this. The interview was about the rise of communism on the left, and I was asked by Jesse Waters why so many young people are buying the false promises of free stuff being sold by communist politicians. My answer: a combination of laziness, yes, and the liberal indoctrination that has been taking place in our education for far too long. There are far left educators pumping students' heads with garbage, convincing them that hard work and sacrifice won't pay off down the road because they want them totally reliant on the government instead. Well, here's something that's shocking to anyone with a IQ below 80, and for the majority of you who could already figure this out and could screen this very easily. There's a reason why it's so easy to fill their heads with this propaganda. The reason why is because things are really bad right now. You can't get a job because your job's going to go to a foreigner. Your job's going to be sent overseas, and if you dare work hard, you'll work hard, work your way up the ladder for about 3 months, and then your success will be given to an H-1B, because why keep you employed when they can have an H-1B maintain the system? And then when you're saying, well, okay, so I'll find a labor job, maybe something that will pay off the bills. I don't have to be the lazy and entitled white collar and don't gotta have an easy life. I can work blue collar and work hard in the dirt. Well, then they're going to give that job over to a bunch of foreigners too, that hire a bunch of illegal immigrants that they don't have to pay you. And so she somehow thinks that that's the case, that somehow everyone's lazy, and she says that's why President Trump is a huge advocate for school choice, and why so many parents I know are turning to homeschooling. Good parenting matters more than anything, but a solid civics-based education is also vitally important. Well, that's absolutely ridiculous. The reason why people are going for homeschooling and going for school choice is because they're the only people left who are having children. Everyone else is not parents. And the reason why they're not parents, well, they can't afford to buy a house at all. So the number one barrier to having children is being financially stable. People can yell all they want saying, hey, you should have kids and figure it out later, that you'll figure it out later. But the people who don't have kids don't know that, and they don't trust that, and they're not, and it shouldn't be expected to be telling people to go out and have kids and just risk your own child's future on hopefully you figure it out. The reality is a lot of people aren't having kids at all because they can't afford them, and the few remaining are wealthy enough to afford homeschooling and school choice, because most people can't afford that. Most people have to have both parents go to work and can't afford to spend 18 years on a single provider. But she says, I care enough about the country to tell uncomfortable truths, but it's not true at all. It's an undeniable fact that a growing number of young people in our country are falling for the lies of socialism and communism sold to them by anti-American politicians who've never built anything, offer no real solutions, and are intent on tearing everything down that makes this country great. Again, like I said earlier, there's a reason why it's easy to convince them. Because things are bad right now. Duh. But this administration and people like Carolyn Levitt, but also Donald Trump and everyone else, they don't live in reality. They live in a world that hasn't existed for like several decades. I mean, this woman, she's like the youngest of all of them. She's like in her 20s, and she's married to a 60-year-old man. Hence why I called her a gold digger and a grave robber, because she somehow has decided, you know what, I can cash in on my husband's will. That's what she's decided, and she's here to tell you that you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth. But it gets even more amazing. I'll give you the spoiler here. She's been community noted. I don't really take much faith. I don't really value the community notes much, because the reality is that they're just stamps of right-wing approval on a message sent out by leftists when they intend to lie. So it doesn't really mean much in the end. But it's a little funny to see right-wingers get clowned on by themselves when it's like the... I mean, I myself am very right-wing, but the lying half and the grifting half and the people who don't actually care and just think that Trump's going to give them more money and they're going to be able to cash in on their homes, that's who I'm talking about. These people get noted, and you can just laugh at them. And she says, at the same time, it's true, many Gen Z Americans are hardworking, entrepreneurial, and deeply patriotic, and we vitally protect the American dream for them. Okay, so first, I'd like to put my own community note on them. Trump's increasing the number of H-1Bs in the country. He's not decreasing them. He's decided to actually bring in more Chinese immigrants into our schools, into the universities that are discriminating against white men. He's all for it. She is completely lying if she thinks that she's protecting any American dream. She's the one selling it out. But then she says, I am honored to work with President Trump and speak on behalf of an administration that's implementing the right policies to do this. Lower taxes, less regulation, stop Wall Street from purchasing single-family homes, Trump accounts, deportation of illegal aliens, and who are taking our housing and jobs. Well, he's not deporting illegal aliens. The low-end estimate is around 20 million illegal immigrants in the country, for which he's at about 500,000 right now. So that's only what, like not even 10%? And the high-end estimate we see from people who actually work in Border Patrol, or worked in Border Patrol, who were fired by the Trump administration, estimating that it's now around 130 million due to the number of years that this has been propagating in the United States. He's not even at 1%. He's not doing mass deportations. He's not deporting illegal aliens. And second, we didn't just say the illegal aliens, we said all the people who are trying to loot and steal from our country. But this is the section she got community noted on, because amazingly, it's another lie. OP claims, I am honored to work for President Trump, who is stopping Wall Street from purchasing single-family homes. However, Trump has delayed signing a bill that would ban this and has said multiple times that he does not want to lower housing prices. This isn't even the full context. He said he wants to raise housing prices, and then when asked about it, he doubled down too. He wants to make buying a house, building a future, more unaffordable for all of Gen Z, so that his generation can loot the system and leave you holding the bag after they pulled up the ladder from behind them. They're totally out of touch. I'm not sure that they're bad actors. I really don't. A lot of the boomer generation, as I've covered already in previous videos, a lot of them are just simply out of touch, don't even know what's going on. You're talking to someone who lives in a world that they believe hasn't changed since the 1970s. Meanwhile, everything from your car to your lights all run on computers. So I don't think they know what's going on. And I think that's what's tearing the country apart, is the fact that we've got people who are like in their 60s, 70s, and 80s still out there voting, still holding, pearl clutching, and death gripping the United States, saying, keep the system that we implemented even though it doesn't work, because we don't know it doesn't work, and it's destroying everyone else with it. But the good news is that she's gotten dial dogpiled on by everyone. It's great to see that the right is finally waking up to the reality. It's not really just a left versus right thing. It's the Gen Z, the younger generations, the people who should be maintaining the system, keeping the lights on in the country, have been totally disenfranchised and kicked out of their own home nation. We have a bunch of these. I pulled up my favorites here. We got this from Matt Moore's TV. Young Americans aren't lazy. They've had their nation stolen from them by 50 million third world foreigners and the traitors politicians that have allowed this to happen. The jobs have been stolen, the wages have been suppressed, and the home prices have been inflated. That's why mass deportations are so necessary. Very sad to see Waters and Levitt push anti-young American rhetoric like this. Let me know if I can help with the messaging. He's absolutely right. The nation has been stolen from us. My ancestors came here in 1710. They came to the United States all the way from a nation that doesn't exist anymore, from Holland, and then later on during the Great Famines, and from Prussia. Prussia literally doesn't exist anymore. If I lose this nation, I have nowhere to go back to. I want to see it fixed, but I see it just being handed off to all these foreigners. Part of the reason why I'm starting to talk myself is because it's just being given away to third worlders who don't care about the system, are happy to completely loot it, make up some company that lies about their pharmaceuticals so that they can crash out at you on Christmas. They want to take the jobs, they come here and they take the money from the businesses. They act like parasites on the businesses and just send the money back overseas, and then when the damage is done, they just go home. My entire home is being looted, and it's this kind of crap where they can't focus on getting the illegals out. Instead, they just tell this lie to like 80-year-olds that don't know what's going on anymore, saying, hey, we're going to keep your housing prices up and we're going to keep your costs down by exploiting your next generation. We got another one. I don't want to dogpile here. You should want to dogpile. I'll criticize him for that. Touch is very raw nerve for most of us. Most of us wanted nothing more than to get a job. That's why we went to college. When we graduated, we found HR longhouse rituals and nakedly slanted hiring practices. If we got an interview at all, it was for the mule work that needed to get done as cheaply as possible. We saw young women get promoted every 15 months to supervise men with triple their experience. We saw token hiring fill top jobs. We saw programs and workshops for identity groups and network and help each other. I guarantee you every Gen Z relates to this. And if you don't know what they're talking about, I appreciate you for listening, and I encourage you to Google a term, fifth round interview, and if you don't know what that is, you'll feel the life drain out of your soul real quick, and it's something you don't want to experience. He says the same thing as poor messaging. All it does is push young MAGA Zoomers into the arms of the DSA types who tell them the system is corrupt. That's exactly correct. We got another one. I'm a mother of 2 Gen Z children. My oldest graduated summa cum. I don't know how to pronounce that because I'm a little retarded. A double major in business and computer science and cannot find a job. Luckily, she attended university at a full academic scholarship, so at least she's not in debt. This is the reality for so many. Like I said, you see about a 40% unemployment rate, and then you see a 40% underemployment rate, and that totals to an 80% of college graduates aren't getting jobs in their field. That should be alarming because all of those people also owe debts, and they also feel like their future has been stripped from them. Ask what happens when you combine those two, and you'll want to live out in the woods real quick. But we've got just so many people dogpiling. It's great to see because this stuff, nobody's tolerating it anymore. Everyone's waking up to the fact that there isn't just some left and right civil war. It's never been the case. What you've got 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds and 60-year-olds death gripping a reality that doesn't exist and a world that disappeared decades ago. We got so many of these. I think this woman's usually not that great, but young people are turning to socialism because they feel current economy is rigged against them, and it's because they want to stop the rise of fascist policies under Trump. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, fascist policies under Trump, but she is just getting dogpiled. I mean, I can't scroll through all of these. It took me an hour to get through all of these. But I'm not here to tell you that it's just all doomer. I want to there's something I want everyone to see. There's something I want everyone to take away from this. The reality is a lot of this stuff isn't going to be fixed for a very long time. She's 28 and still parroting this message. Jesse Waters, what? How old is he? He looks like he's in his 50s. I mean, they're saying that the boomers are hitting a what do you call it, mortality cliff, and that they're soon going to pass on. But this man, he's nowhere near that. And he's still parroting this, and she's definitely nowhere near that, and she's still parroting this. You've got a long way to go. There's no just fix the policies now. What I want everyone to do, the people who are listening, I know this is going to sound crazy. I'm about to tell you something that you're not going to like. The whole line about get married and have children is just a parroting point. Here's the actual advice. Find the woman that you grew up with, the woman that you are closest with, regardless to how bad things are. I don't care if she's a fat, blue-haired leftist. Go out and marry that woman. You're not going to... I want you to accept the reality that you're not going to live some life of luxury. You're never going to be able to get a boat and bunch of jet skis and be able to party at your second house on the lake. That's never going to happen. But what you can do is you can fix the future for all the generations to come. The reality is that all of the dating problems, a lot of it, these women are completely broken by the same thing that's breaking you. The same reason why they're fat and they're leftists and they're screeching about men is the same reason why you can't find a job. The message from the boomers and the message from the Gen Xers was the same. We can welcome as many immigrants in to provide cheap labor. We're not going to question how we pay for how we pay for cheap products, how the products got so cheap. We're not going to look into that. We're just going to assume that the wages stay high, even though that's obviously not correct. But the same people who said that to you went to young women and they told them that you can get fat and that you can be a boss babe and that everything's going to be all right. And now you're all stuck with the bag. You're all stuck sitting there with the consequences of their actions. And you need to accept this reality. You need to accept that the ideal woman, the fit, blonde, blue-haired woman of your dreams, it doesn't exist. It was destroyed by the previous generations. You need to make do with what's out there. You find the woman that you grew up with, the woman that you're closest with, the woman that you have the most in common with, and no matter how bad things are, you stick with her and you figure it out. You raise a family and you figure it out and you accept that, you know what, there's a good chance you're going to completely fail and it's going to get really, really, really hard, but you have a chance at being able to deliver to the kids 50 years from now, the world that was stripped and taken away from you. All of the things that you will never enjoy. All of the things that you aspire for and you know that's never going to happen. The house on the beach, the retirements, the cashing out your 401k. You're going to work until the day you die. You're going to suffer and you're going to experience a lot of pain. And it's going to be very hard. You don't have a chance to get married and just do what your parents did because the parents had easy lives. And a lot of them didn't teach the skills on to their next generation. We see complaints in a video I did earlier that they're saying that the jobs weren't given, that you were constrained in the 70s to the job that your dad did. But the problem is now that you can't continue on your father's legacy. You have to go on and find your own. And everyone's suffering under this. You won't have the opportunity to live that luxury life. But I promise you, if you stick to the grind, you accept that these things aren't going to happen, but you can provide them for the generations to come. I promise you, by the day you die, eventually you will fix this country. Eventually you will fix the issues. It's going to take forever. It's going to take a long time. I know it's going to be hard, but we can do this. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you like what I'm doing. I'll catch you all later. Think about that. Peace.